All right, so get this. Today, we're going on a deep dive. And,
To the Netherlands.
yeah, you got it. We're going to be looking at the January 2024 issue of OCQ magazine. You heard of it.
It does sound a little familiar. What is it again?
It's a Dutch business magazine, published every month. It's really for those entrepreneurs over there in the Netherlands.
Okay, so we're diving into the Dutch business world then. Sounds interesting. What kind of stuff will we find in there?
Well, it's not your typical dry business magazine. I mean, it's got articles on AI trends.
Of course.
And some actually pretty solid wellness advice even. And then, those like quirky ads you find tucked between the pages?
Oh, yeah.
This magazine is full of them.
You know what? That's actually a gold mine for what's going on in a particular market.
Totally. You get a real snapshot of like where business meets real life Dutch style. And since you're always curious about how technology and wellness come together in the business world, I think you might find this one fascinating.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's jump in.
Okay, so first up, AI. Obviously a hot topic in pretty much every industry these days.
Let's say the least, right?
Right. But this magazine looks at how it's changing the game for those small to medium-sized businesses specifically.
And that's smart because
Yeah.
that's really where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah.
So what are they saying? Anything good?
Well, they have this whole article dedicated to, get this, the launch of OpenAI's GPT Store.
Okay, that's big. That's way bigger than just another tech playground. That's potentially a marketplace for custom AI tools, all powered by, ChatGPT technology.
And most people have at least heard of that by now, I think.
ChatGPT, oh, absolutely. It's been everywhere.
Yeah.
But the store, tell me more about this store. What makes it so special?
So imagine this. You don't need to be a coding genius to make your own AI tools anymore. That's what this store does. It's democratizing AI, really. It's like
Putting power in the hands of, well,
anyone, really.
small businesses, anyone with a decent idea.
Exactly. Let's say you're a florist, right? They could create an AI tool that helps customers design a bouquet, like the perfect one, based on their budget, what they like.
Okay, that's a fantastic example. And not just that, they can even sell that tool to other florists out there. It's like building a whole new revenue stream from their expertise.
Exactly. Like the App Store, but for AI.
Exactly. And this magazine really captures that excitement, that entrepreneurial spirit around AI. It's not some big tech thing anymore. This is the future, and it's available to everyone.
Okay, but now even with all this talk about AI, even with these tools that don't need a computer science degree, it all still feels a little overwhelming, I mean, how do you actually talk to this AI and make it do what you want? Like, what are the magic words?
You're preaching to the choir. I think we've all felt that way at some point. But you're in luck. OCQ Magazine to the rescue again. They've got an article on just that.
What? How to talk to AI?
Well, it's called Prompt Engineering. But honestly, before you tune out thinking it's some crazy technical jargon, it's simpler than it sounds.
Okay, I'm listening.
Think of it like giving someone directions. The clearer you are, the more specific your instructions, the better they'll understand what you want and how to actually do it, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So prompt engineering is basically the art of giving AI crystal clear instructions so you get the results you're looking for.
So it's less about knowing how to code and more about knowing how to communicate effectively.
Exactly. And the article actually breaks down prompt engineering into like 6 key strategies. Things like being super specific with what you want, providing context, breaking down big, complicated tasks into smaller ones, and even knowing when to use other tools to help you out. It's a fascinating deep dive into this whole skill set that's becoming so important.
It really makes you think about what it means to be tech savvy these days, right? It's not just about coding anymore. It's about mastering the art of communication, even with a machine.
It's amazing how this whole thing with prompt engineering is becoming essential for pretty much everyone, not just the techies.
I know, right? It's like we're all learning a new language to navigate this whole digital world. And speaking of languages, this magazine, it throws a curveball at us. It goes deep into wellness, but with a very, Dutch twist.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
The article that got me was called Influence of Light on Our Well-Being.
Okay, tell me more about this.
So it's by this woman, Kiki Kemp. She's a mind-body therapist.
Okay.
And get this, a Pine Reset method specialist. I had to look that one up.
Pine Reset method, huh? I think I'm going to need a translation on that one. What is that exactly?
All right, so it turns out it means pain reset method.
Interesting. Pain reset method. So what's the connection to light?
Well, we won't get into all the details of the method, but it shows you how much she, Kiki Kemp, focuses on the connection between our physical and mental well-being. And light is a big part of that, she says.
Makes sense. So what's her take on light and how it affects us?
Well, she starts by saying how important natural light is. I mean, think about it. Our bodies are designed to respond to daylight, right?
Yeah, like our sleep cycles and all that.
Exactly. But now, with modern life, we're surrounded by artificial light all the time. And it messes with our body's natural rhythms, our circadian rhythm.
Yeah, tell me about it. Ever had that foggy brain feeling after a bad night's sleep?
Exactly. And she's especially worried about blue light.
Blue light?
Yeah. The kind that comes from phones, computers, those energy-efficient light bulbs even.
Oh, yeah, right.
That stuff tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime, which stops it from releasing melatonin, the thing that makes you sleepy.
Which is not what you want when you're trying to get some shut-eye.
No, not at all. And she really emphasizes how this is especially bad for kids growing up surrounded by screens constantly.
It's true. You don't see kids playing outside as much anymore.
And it makes you think, right? Especially with this being a Dutch magazine. I mean, the Netherlands, they have those long winters, not a lot of daylight for a good chunk of the year.
So they're already dealing with these big changes in natural light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you add in all this artificial light on top of that.
Makes you wonder if that's why they're so focused on this connection between light and well-being, Like maybe it's something they're more aware of because of where they live.
It's an interesting thought, for sure. And what's cool is that Kemp actually gives some really practical advice that we can all use. Things like, take breaks during the day to go outside, get some sunlight, use those special light bulbs in your house that filter out the blue light, and, of course, being mindful of how much time you spend on screens, especially at night.
It's funny. We started off talking about AI, this super high-tech thing, and now we're here talking about the power of natural light and unplugging from technology.
It's like this constant balancing act.
Right.
Between technology and well-being. That's just the world we live in now.
Totally. It's like a dance. And this magazine, it gets that. Even their advertising reflects it. It's like a window into how the Dutch think about being a consumer.
Oh, absolutely. You see ads for pain relief products like Carinetics right alongside these slick ads for this company called DataBeat. They do like big data services or something.
And let's not forget that really cool ad for the Acura ZDX electric car. Super futuristic.
Yeah, the Acura ZDX. It's more than just a car, It's about going green, being sustainable.
Yeah.
It shows you how important the environment is becoming to people.
It's really fascinating when you think about it. You've got these ads mixed in with articles about AI and wellness. It paints this really vivid picture of what matters to Dutch consumers, their health, data, and looking ahead to the future.
And it's not just the Netherlands, right? I mean, these are global trends we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing them through the lens of this magazine, through this Dutch perspective, it just makes it more real, more relatable somehow.
It's like we zoomed in on these big trends, but from a totally different angle. And the cool thing is we got to see it through this lens of, Dutch innovation and how they live their lives.
Exactly. And it gets you thinking, right? Like, what can we really learn from just flipping through this magazine? What's the takeaway for, anyone listening who's interested in tech and wellness and how it all fits into the business world?
For me, it's a reminder that sometimes the best inspiration comes from the things you least expect, We get so stuck in our own little worlds, our industries, our ways of thinking. Yeah. And this magazine, this Dutch business magazine with its AI articles and wellness tips and even those kind of strange ads, it reminds us that there are no real boundaries between these things.
It's true. It's all connected.
Yeah. And if we can make those connections ourselves, well, this just gives you a much richer and more interesting way of seeing how the world works.
It is interesting, isn't it? I think that's what I love about these deep dives. It's about always being curious, about looking beyond what you think you know and see what you can find.
So true. So I guess as we close the pages on this edition of OCQ magazine, I have this feeling of, excitement, I guess you could say. If this one little magazine can spark so many ideas, imagine what else is out there. What other hidden gems are just waiting for us to discover?
It really makes you want to explore more, doesn't it? Try new things, see new perspectives, and never, ever underestimate those deep dives into the unknown. You never know what you'll discover.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So until next time, keep exploring, keep those questions coming, and keep on diving deep, everyone. You just never know what you'll find.